Have you ever wondered what would happen if the Sinister replaced the Clock Titan in the Skibidi Multiverse series? How would this change affect the actions of the other Titans? Would they even have to do much? And in general, how would it affect the entire storyline? Well, with all that out of the way, let's begin right from the first time we saw the Clock Titan. So, this was at the clock base, where he was able to totally obliterate the unsuspecting mutants. But in this case, we are not just going to slap the overpowered Sinister right there, as that would be just overkill. We'll have to improvise. So let's just imagine the Sinister at his base form. What would that look like? Well, let's just say he'll have as much power as the upgraded Clock Titan or the canon Clock Titan. So yeah, we'll use that form of the clock as the Sinister for now. But even still, at this form, we all know the mutants would get smoked instantly. With his sword, he'll be able to cut and totally obliterate the mutants, clearing the base of mutants and toilets more easily and earlier. By this time, the Camera Titan would have been infected by a parasite and is causing hell to the Alliance. The Skibidis would have made the Magnet Mutant as a counter to the Clock's abilities, and he'd appear just like in the original story and use his strong magnets to attract the large Clockman, ripping him into two. But the Sinister would come in and attack him. The Skibidis would have thought that the magnets would have any significant impact on the battle, but that would not be the case, as the Sinister has enough energy to counter the effects of the magnetic field. So, with this, the Sinister would be able to smoke the Magnet Mutant even before the Scientist would come in. So, the infected Camera Titan would come in with the Scientist, and together they would attack the Sinister in a kind of duo battle. But the Sinister's goal would be to uninfect the Camera Titan to bring him back to the Alliance's side. So, he'll be able to stop time and spot the parasite, squashing it, thereby uninfecting the Camera Titan and giving a massive win to the Alliance. Now that they have another Titan on their side, the Scientist would realize things wouldn't go his way and would retreat out of the battlefield. With this, the Alliance would not have to go for any rescue mission. Instead, they'll channel that effort and energy out to the various Skibidi bases scattered across. So, going base to base, they'll be able to clear out many mutants and toilets. And with the Sinister on their side, it would be a lot easier. So, they'll be able to clear multiple episodes effortlessly. However, just as strong as the Sinister is at this point, he'll not be able to protect the other Titans entirely. So, the other Titans would see the need for upgrades. With this, the Speaker Titan would get upgraded significantly, based on the fact that he has been in battle for so long, even since the Sinister showed up. The Camera Titan would follow suit with the machine gun upgrades, still clearing bases. Meanwhile, the Alliance would have been working on something too for the Drill Titan, as the old body would have been damaged too. And here, the TV Titan would come in more early, as there's no need for any secret mission. Yeah, it's a full squad of OP Titans. Well, you might be thinking that everything is going well for the Alliance. Well, wait until you see what would happen in the next few episodes. So, after successfully clearing multiple episodes, here's where things get trippy. We would then get to see Alpha, and she has formed an alliance with the Skibidis. Together, the plan would be to defeat the Sinister, as he's the major threat. So, they'll come up with a very devious plan, and this would shake the entire alliance. So, they'll need a diversion out of the clock base, as that's where it would take place. There'll be a massive attack at the drill base, which by default, all the Titans would go to help their alliance members. But they won't realize that the Skibidis know this. So, while they are in battle at the drill base, Alpha would secretly attack the clock base. But you may be wondering why the future Clockman didn't see this coming. Well, he'll be occupied working on something very important. You'll find out in a while. So, with the invasion of the clock base, Alpha would take a hostage with her, the Clockwoman, as blackmail. The offer would be to seal the Sinister back into the tower to get her back. While the other Titans are in battle protecting the drill base from the invasion of the Skibidis, the Sinister would get a message to retreat back to the base as there's an emergency. So he does just that, but when he gets to the base and meets with the clock boss, he'll notice that something is wrong. So he's told about the situation and agrees to be sealed to save one of his kind. The clock boss goes on to seal the Sinister into Big Ben with a very strong time spell. When the Skibidis see that the deed has been done, the clock base would be attacked with full force. Of course, they would not heed their promise of freeing the Clockwoman. Instead, the base would be overtaken by the Skibidis, and since they know that it's only the clock boss that can unseal the Sinister, Alpha would order the alarm clockman to do it, which he would have no choice but to do. With this, the clock boss would meet his unfortunate end, and the rest of the clock agents at the base would become prisoners. But not all of them were at the base at the moment, and there was a reason for this. You'll find out in a minute. So, the other Titans Titans notice that the mutants at the drill base have started retreating back as they have gotten the message about the successful mission. So they all would go back to the clock base as their new base. The other Titans would be confused as to what has happened, and they'll receive an emergency message explaining the entire situation to them. This would send literal shockwaves throughout the Alliance as all hope has been lost, but will not yet, as they are not ready to give up. So the Titans gear up and the Drill Titan goes for his upgrades. They would all be ready to launch a full-on attack to reclaim the clock base and save the clock woman and the prisoners. So when they are all set and done with the upgrades, they'll go on the attack and they'll meet up with the scientist. The battle would rage on and Alpha would watch from a distance. She'll notice that this would not go well for the Skibidis, so she would summon the Counter Titan to help. Notice that the Drill Titan would not be with the Titans, as his upgrades would take even more time. So the TV, camera and speaker trio would go up against the Counter Titan and the scientist, and the battle would rage, with each side showing their strength. But the scientist would have a better plan, so he'll retreat, as it's not worth it anymore. With this, the Counter Titan would battle ferociously with the Titans and inflict a lot of damage to them. The Speaker Titan would have sustained enough damage that he won't be able to move, but just as he's about to finish up the Speaker Titan and all hopes are lost, something unusual would happen. Things would start moving slowly all of a sudden, and the entire galaxy would come to a halt. Yeah, you guessed right, it's the god of the Chronoverse, the Sinister, and he has risen from the dead. Well, not exactly. You see, the future Clockman has been working on this plan. He knows that Alpha would invade the clock base, so in order to ensure their survival, they had to upgrade the Sinister from his base form and keep it as hidden as possible. So the Sinister was not actually sealed, but was teleported to another secret base, where he'll be receiving upgrades, and they didn't want to put the Clock Woman in even more risk, so the Clock Boss had to make the ultimate sacrifice for the Alliance. So now that the Sinister is back and is on the Alliance's side, things would pretty much be easier, as the Counter Titan would get bodied almost instantly and Alpha crushed. With this, they would move on to the next episodes, and I must say with the Sinister, I don't think the Skibidis would stand a chance. So it can either go two ways. They catch up with the Skibidis before the G-Man apocalypse and all ends well for them, except the fact about Alpha's master, or somehow they manage to launch the G-Man apocalypse. Well, the Skibidis would still plan on something that would affect a Titan with clock abilities, as we heard when Jimmy said that the trap was actually for the Clock Titan. Well, I guess the Sinister is definitely not the Clock Titan, so even if he got inside the G-Man, he'll be able to rip him from the inside out, destroying anything that crosses his path. With the Sinister on their side, things would pretty much be easier, even with the size of G-Man and nuke-level threats. The Sinister can easily slash down these attacks, nullifying them. So with this, the Titans would be able to locate Jimmy and he'll get smoked. All they have to do now is to worry about Alpha's master, as that would be the only threat that might have a chance against the Alliance at this point. And I even heard they were working on some kind of clock thingy, and someone banged an alien in a secret mission. Well, we'll find out in the coming episodes. However, check out this video to find out what would happen if the Camera Titan got reinfected in episode 14. Unique Clockman out.